Good morning, everyone. This is your backyard gardener. Before I get into my live for today, I just want to do an announcement. Here in Michigan Zone uh, 6B, the northern states, we have a problem with human trafficking. Um, a lot of children is coming up missing. A lot of adults is coming up missing as well. Um, So I'm just telling everybody it's not just a North thing, it's not a Michigan thing, it is probably in your state as well. So please be careful, stay vigilant, watch your surroundings, check on your children, check on your family, and make sure everything is okay. Because this is becoming a really widespread problem. When it first happened here, um, they started announcing human trafficking. I was like, oh, I don't see any signs of it, but it is happening. And it's a really, really big thing. So be careful, especially around the holidays when you're shopping and you're not paying attention to what's going on. Definitely be careful. So that is just my announcement that I wanted to make before we get into the video. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the live. I am trying to log in, and I'm probably going to announce that again before I leave. Joyce, how are you? What I grow? How's everything going with you? Melanie, the moderator, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you guys for being here. Let me log into the chat so that I can see who all is here. Okay. I am running just a little bit late this morning. Let me get that together. Alright, we're going to read that. Guys, excuse my hair being all over the place, but this is my second week. I go to the shop every other week. It looks like I'm going to have to start going every week. Let's see who we have here. Melanie, the moderator, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Joyce, what I grow, hello, how are you? Hope all is well and staying warm. Restore Garden, hello. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you. How are you? Guys, it has been quite a week. It's getting close to the new year. And TK Tanae, hello, how are you? What's going on? It's getting close to a new year. I'm excited about it. I can't complain about 2019. 2019 has been awesome for me. A lot of things have happened in 2019, and I'm going to put up a recap video of some of the things that happened in 2019. I've met some amazing people in 2019, especially over in the YouTube community alone. So I can't really say a lot of negatives about 2019. The positive definitely outweighed the negative for this year. Unfortunately, that might not be the case for a lot of people, but we have to kind of keep striving forward and hope for the best in 2020. I am claiming 2020 to be an awesome year as well. I am claiming 2020 to be health, love, and life. So that's the mindset that we have to go into our new year. Don't drag what's in the old year into your new year. Just try to stay positive, stay encouraged. So today we're talking about garden goals for 2020. Some of the strategies that we need to have. I'm coming on late because for those who know me, it's my 25-year-old son that's artistic, and my two garden dogs, which is me and Diamond, my Shih Tzus. Well, I've been having a problem with Diamond. She's been very not listening lately and hard-headed because she gets stuck in her ways, and she's been challenging me lately. So that's been the most of my whole weekend has been dealing with her. She has allergies, and if you ever consider getting a Shih Tzu breed, remember that this is one of their problems that they have. But she has allergies. That's the black and white one. And I had to change her food from one food to another food. And oh my goodness, she likes the food, but then I give them a treat. Now I had to stop giving them dog treats because some of the things that would cause her to have allergy flare-ups was in the dog treat. So I started giving her like carrots. She loves carrots, and she loves apples. So I will peel her a carrot, I'll peel the apple and cut them up, and I will give it to both of them. Even though Mia's don't have allergy problems the way Diamond do, but I give it to them twice a day. I'll give them a treat. I'll give them a carrot after they eat their first time, and sometimes they don't even eat their the second time for the day. But she's been giving me the blues. She's eating twice a day, which is fine. She'll eat at 7 in the morning. She'll eat at 4:30 in the afternoon when my son comes in from school, and it's like 7:01. She tripping. She like, why isn't my food here? I mean, she's really been giving me a hard time. If I sleep over on Sunday, she's at the side of my bed just hitting the bed for me to wake up and bark. And now, mind you, the real protector, if you come to my door, Mia's going to take off. She's going to do that warning bark. She's going to growl. Diamond will just sit there at my feet like telling Mia, go ahead, do your job. But when it comes down for her to eat, she's all barking. So I'm going through with that with Miss Diamond. All right, so we're going to talk about some garden goals. Some of the challenges that I had in 2019 in my garden was, of course, the irrigation was a big help for me. Right, that's basically what she said, TK. She's so demanding, especially with the snacks. I gave her a little peanut butter on one of her apples the other day. She never turned her out like that. It's like she turned out now. And that's what the whole weekend's been about, her fussing because she wants the apple with the peanut butter on it. Jeff, good morning. How are you? Thank you so much for coming in. So one of my problems that I had in 2018, and we resolved it in 2019, was that irrigation. So the irrigation helped me out a lot because I didn't have to tote water from one part of the garden all the way to the other part of the garden. Same to you, Jeff. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. From one part of the garden all the way to the other part of the garden. When I went to the Home Depot, I came across the poly pipe. So we installed it, got it in, worked beautiful for my grapevine because that's the only thing that's all the way at the back of the garden. Purple Paisley Planner, hello. How are you? Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you. And thank you for that thumbs up. I appreciate you with that. So these are the things that made it easier for me in 2019, and I've seen great improvements with that in 2019. If you are a new gardener, or if you're thinking about gardening, what I can advise a new person that's never gardened before, start small. Don't try to start with a whole bunch of stuff. I want to grow this, I want to grow that. Just start small. maybe 5 things you might want to grow. Grow what you eat. Don't just grow because you see somebody else growing it and you never had it. Grow what you eat, especially in the beginning. And also grow the things that are somewhat easy to grow. Um, Most brassicas are easier to grow, but you'll have problems with pests with some of your brassicas. And you have to know when to grow. When I mean brassicas, the leafy greens, you need to know when is the good time to start your garden. That makes a difference too. When is a good time to start your seeds? Most of the time on YouTube, you kind of know when it's seed starting time, because everybody started putting out a video of them dropping their seeds in their seed cells or starting their seeds. You got to know your zone. You have to know your element before you can garden, in my opinion. Now, you need to know what zone you're in. You need to know when your last frost date is. And you need to know when your first frost date is. Figure out how long is your growing season. Some people's season are longer than others. My season is not that long, but it's longer than others. Barefruit Gardener, hello, how are you? So my advice is to start small. But why do I advise you to start small? Because you don't want to get overwhelmed. And you can. Because especially if you're a container gardener, a lot of people are in rental properties or just don't want to dig up their yard for a garden because they don't know if this is something that they want to do long term. So container gardening is the way to go. There's things that you have to remember as a container gardener. One, everything is contained in that container, meaning your soil, the worms are not getting to that container because everything is kind of closed off from the earth unless you're sitting it down on the ground, and some way, somehow, they can get into the holes at the bottom of your pots. They're not getting the nutrients throughout the whole season because you're in a container, and they're not dealing with the microorganisms that's in earth that the plant needs and the worm casting that your plants love. So you have to feed them. You have to fertilize them. It's a lot more that you have to do in a container garden than you would in an in-ground garden. So those are things that you have to remember. Do your research. Barefruit is coming in, saying hi to everybody. Guys, again, in my live, you are welcome to mix and mingle and chat amongst each other, get to know each other. If you like what each other is offering, go over there, pay them a visit. Just don't self-promote. Other than that, feel free to communicate. Barefruit is a beginner garden. And what I like about Barefruit Channel as a beginning gardener is that she went through this journey as a beginning gardener, and she also took you through the journey with her. She showed you the good, she showed you the bad, she showed you the ugly. If you are thinking about becoming a beginning gardener, go back, check out her videos for 2019 and some of the things that she did and she went through. In my garden, I didn't show a lot of for a beginning gardener. I just went out there and I just started gardening. This year I'm going to cater a little bit toward, in 2020, I'm going to cater a little bit toward beginning gardeners and also limited mobility gardeners. People that have mobile issues. Susette, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you. Good morning. I think it's still morning. It might be afternoon. I'm thrown off. Thanks to Diamond and Mia. So, we're talking about our garden goals for 2020. Now, you have to know What you went through in 2019, you want to try to avoid for 2020. That's called strategizing. If you do the same thing over again and again and expect a different result, that's called insanity. So we're going to do a little something different this year. So my problem for 2019 was rectified with the irrigation. So now my grapevine is growing. It's doing better after 3 years of attempting to get them growing. I finally got them growing. Thanks to Supreme Family Garden. Thanks to the Morning Gardener Show for that advice that I got from watching their videos. And it worked. Now, Charles Robinson, hello, good morning, happy Monday to you. I haven't seen you in a while, Charles. I hope all is well over in your land. Food Forest Permaculture, good morning, hello, happy Monday to you. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you. So now I have the issue of when you get one thing growing and give it that attention, and you go to the other thing, it's like, well, man, I gave all this attention to the grapevine, got it going, but guess what? My blueberries stopped producing over here. What happened? That's why I highly suggest, if you are a beginning gardener, to start off at a minimum. Don't try to overwhelm yourself with a whole bunch of stuff because you will get frustrated. So now this year I got to find out, research why is my top hat blueberry didn't produce me blueberries this year when every year it gives me an abundance of blueberries. Is there a limit? Is there a life limit on my blueberry bush being a top hat? Because believe you me, in our garden we do have limits for our perennials. Our perennials sometimes have limits too. Our strawberries, most strawberries, you'll get that bumper crop in that third year. A lot of people say, I don't want to grow strawberries. I never get a bunch of strawberries because that third year is when you get that bumper crop. But the lifespan of a strawberry plant is 3 years. That's why you can use those runners to keep, the life cycle going with new plants. P. Gardner, hello, how are you? Thank you so much for coming in. Tylita 360 Cafe, thank you for coming in. I thought I saw you whiz past here. So I encourage everybody to grow and start a garden in 2020, but you need to be thinking about it and you need to create your strategy now. You need to create your list of what you're going to grow. If you're already a gardener, you need to figure out your strategy. A lot of people have aphid problems. What can we use organically on our plants to battle those aphids? On my tree, I had wind up getting a disease on one of my peach trees out there. And the whole branch just got cankers all down it. Steve Rogers, hello, how are you? Thank you so much for coming in. I hope you're having a great day. So with growing your food, you know what you went through, you know what your battle was. How can we correct it? Because we still want to grow the same thing that we grew last year. Everyone in the chat, have experienced growing tomatoes. Potatoes. I haven't grown potatoes, and one of the reasons why I don't grow them is because they were so inexpensive in the stores that I wouldn't grow them. But with that mindset, we don't know what they're putting in our food now, so that's going to be something that I'm going to have to start growing because that's what I use in my household. So you have to think at that too. Oh, I don't want to grow it because they're inexpensive. I can buy them at the store. We don't know what they're putting in this food. I watched the replay of Supreme Family Garden. And don't leave, Steve. I'm going to show you something of those potatoes too. I watched the replay of Supreme Family Garden because I missed his live yesterday. And he was showing how he throws a lot of fruits and vegetables down to compost it to the soil around his trees that he gets from the markets and stuff that's throwing it away. And he picked up a tomato that he had threw out there. The tomato still looked perfectly fine. One was hard as a rock. Like, our food is supposed to break down a little bit better than that. And that's a sure tell sign of things are not right the way they're growing it. Guys, next Monday, you want to be in this live because I'm doing a giveaway. And this giveaway is basically based around gardeners. I haven't did a giveaway in a while. I mean, I give away stuff all the time, but I haven't did a giveaway. One of the things that I'm giving away, Steve, since you're top, is this grow bag. You can grow potatoes in here, and you know how a lot of times we try to check to see if the potatoes is in here. Well, this has a pocket that you can just lift up at the bottom, and you can see if your potatoes are growing and put it back down without even disturbing the plant. This is one of the things that I'm giving away, and I think it's called a potato tub. Excuse me, it's actually supposed to be 2 of them in here. So this is one of the things that I'll be giving away. Also, these are 5-gallon root pouch, kangaroo root pouch grow bags with the handles. Sorry about that. These are new, but I ordered a bunch of them some years ago, and I grew my sweet potatoes out of here one year, and it actually was pretty successful. So these are grow bags that I'll be giving away. I have 4 of them. I'll probably be giving them away 2 by 2. I'm not sure. And I'll have some more stuff to add to this. So definitely come in next Monday. It'll be close toward the holidays, and a lot of people that's going through the holidays, some of them is good, and sometimes it's a little bad for you because of memories or whatever. But we're gonna come in, we're gonna play a couple of games, and we're gonna have a giveaway, and I can get these out to you by the time before your season even starting. This will be a part of your strategy. So hopefully some of you newbie gardeners are on the fence that's thinking about gardening and win some of this stuff to kind of motivate you and kickstart you. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. I had a great yield in container growing potatoes. Yes. I did my sweet potatoes in a container, and what I've learned in my notes, they do better in the grow bag than they actually do in the black plastic containers. I think with that black plastic containers, it just heats those roots up too much. And then I don't know if it was that or the variety that I grow. I normally grow Georgia Jet sweet potatoes. My little camera on it keeps swinging, y'all. Georgia Jet sweet potatoes. But this year I did Beauregard, and I didn't have success with them like I did in the previous years. Let's see. Steve Rogers. How many? Okay, so he's asking how many potatoes would he plant in a 30-gallon container. So for those of you all who grow potatoes, Steve needs to know so that he can get his strategy together for spring of 2020. Restore Garden BG, I was looking at those, but I wasn't sure if they were the best alternative or not. Thanks for sharing that. You know, I've never grown out of them, but I have grown out of these, and they're good. The thing about grow bags, it doesn't root bound your plant because the air is getting to them. So it's like your plant to come out. If you pull a plant out of one of these bags, you hear my dogs acting up. That's Mia. She's really upset with me right now. We're upset with each other. Um, these bags here will not root bound your plant. Actually, when you pull the plant out the bag, the roots are loose. They don't spiral around at all. The thing about grow bags is that you have to keep them watered as well because they will dry up. So that's another thing in container gardening, period. You gotta get out there and water. Sometimes in that middle of the summer, you have to water 2 times a day. So keep that in mind being a container gardener. My next advice to you guys, if you are a container gardener, raised bed gardener, put your containers, put your raised bed close to your water source. If you got a bed that's 10 feet away and you don't have a 10 feet hose, or I'm sorry, 50 feet away and you don't have a 50 feet hose, you're going to be toting buckets. That's hard on the body as well, and it'll make a person have a day where they be like, I'm not toting today. I'm not doing it. So make sure that you plant your garden by a close water source. That was one of the mistakes that I made. Hot Sauce Junkie Tim, hello, how are you? Thank you so much for coming in. I see that you guys are still eating those peppers. I was in your live the other day where you had that taffy that you guys had made up with Cabela's. And let me straighten y'all up for a minute, y'all. Sorry about this. I got you all crooked. Terry Smith, hello. How are you? Thank you for coming in. Guys, we got some amazing channels in here. And one thing about everybody in here, the content creators, that you can learn from each and every one of them something. You don't have to have a big 10K or better channel to learn from one of our content creators, and that's the thing that people get screwed up. They feel like because this is a 100K channel, they must be a great gardener. You could be right up under 1K and still give me just as much information and just as much content as a 100K channel. So definitely continue to network with each other and check out the different channels. With your strategy, you're going to come apart building your soil. Last year, a lot of us, Ernest, hello, how are you? Thank you so much for coming in. Good morning. I appreciate you being here. Building your soil. That was one of the things that at this point in my journey of gardening, I'm ready to go into building my own soil. I'm over the buying bags and bags and bags of soil, throwing them in the back of my truck, bringing them into the garden. I now repurpose what I have, or I'll build my own. It's fall time. Everybody is raking leaves. Don't throw the leaves away. Keep the leaves. You can put them in a black plastic bag, wet them down, stick some holes in them, make some black leaf mulch, or you could build you a little compost pile, pour them over in there, cover it up the top, wet them down, cover the top up. It's a lot of things that you could do to help you build your own soil. I'm doing everything that I did this year in my garden, Hot Sauce Junkie, but you will be surprised to know that I have a pepper collection that I'm starting. And I got a video coming out. Eric Hall sent me a bunch of seeds, and I'm dedicating this bed to Eric Hall pepper collection, and there are some hot peppers and Hot Sauce Junkie. You know I don't like hot peppers, but I will be putting them into a saucer, so that will be new to my garden. And more kale and spinach is going to be also in my garden. So that's what I got that's going to be new. Sherry, Life Journey, hello, how are you? Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you coming in. I think I'm seeing 17 people in the building, 13 thumbs up. If you haven't smashed the like button for the host, please smash the like button. P. Gardner, it's not there's a blight. It caught some type of blight disease that's common with those trees. I think it was my Sunglow nectarine, not my peach tree. And it started getting cankers like all on the bark. When I first seen it happening, it leafed out beautifully, and then the leaves started turning brown. Then the bark started getting cankers. So I was supposed to treat that tree. I was supposed to spray a fungicide on it over the winter, and I didn't. So that's another thing, a strategy that I'm going to work on, is trying to get disease-resistant trees and trying to get self-pollinating trees. My camera keep on swinging. All right. So that's one of the things that strategies that I'm gonna work on. Let me see. Sherry say I thought I was blue. Don't worry about it, Sherry. I took away I had to redo my mods because for one I had too many. It seemed like the whole room was blue, so everybody thought, hold on, y'all, I'm trying to fix you. Everybody thought that they were supposed to be blue. Wrenches don't really mean nothing. The ones that's in here, you know, they know how to take them down. And then I was getting people blocked that wasn't supposed to have been blocked, and I found out. I was getting messages saying, hey, I'm blocked, I can't get in your chat. So I had to take them all down for a few days, and I just reinstated some of them. So don't worry about being a mod. I have 2 peach trees coming in the mail soon. P. Gardner, what kind of peach trees are they? Yeah, Sherry, thank you for understanding. It's nothing personal. Please believe me. You gotta kind of clean your channel up a little bit. Sister Sarah, hello. Welcome to the live. Thank you so much for coming in. I know y'all feel like y'all just leaning off the side of a bus. Please forgive the backyard gardener. Thank you so much for coming in. Hello to all. Recently found out that I was losing my pepper plants to skunks. Skunks eat the roots, and the plants just wanted to share. Blessing on the garden family. Wow. So I take it that you're growing them in the ground and not in a container. I don't even know the activity of a skunk. I've seen them, but I haven't had them around, so I don't know their climbing ability. But if you put them in containers, put them up a little bit, maybe that'll help. As small as they are, they probably can climb. Sue said, I'm going to campaign to deal with bugs and more concession plant, more harvest. Yes, companion planting is good for 2 reasons. It's good for dealing with, and that's even on my list. It's good for dealing with different types of pests, and it's also good for your soil as well. I think it's called the 3 Sisters. You know, the beans give off a lot of nitrogen into the soil. So a lot of people say, well, you plant the corn and the beans and something else. I can't think of what it is. But it's all supposed to help each plant in some type of way and balancing off the nutrients in your soil. So that's pretty good. And that's good research as well. Also, seed saving. We have to start saving seeds because to continue to buy seeds from different companies is fine. But if you can have your own supply of seeds because you know how your garden did, that's even better. So that's a strategy too, where you don't have to buy as much for the new year, for the new season. You have it already there. So seed saving is also, and you can share them out to different people. A lot of people have been giving away seeds. Let me see, what are you going to put in your garden now? Only thing for now that I know I'm going to add for the 2020 is my pepper collection and kale and spinach. I'm not sure what else. I'm trying to continue to grow what I've been growing, but just on a larger scale. That's pretty much it. This year I'm going to have to focus a little bit more on my trees because something out there should be bearing some fruit out of my fruit trees, stone fruit that I have in my garden. And I need to put get them out of containers and put them in ground. So it's going to be some rearranging in the garden this year for me. I'm going to move my gate back. At the end of the fence where my grapevine is, that gate is going to be moved back. So that'll give me a little bit more land. And I'm possibly moving it over a little bit as well. I'm not sure about that yet. Or put a gate there where I could access it easily. Because the house next door, I own that one. So, and I have 3 of my trees over there because that yard is a lot bigger. Well, that yard has more space than mine. So I'll probably put a gate there so I can access over there to check on my trees. More irrigation. When it's hot out there, guys, you don't want to be out there watering. So they have at Home Depot, it's called Diggs. I showed it to you. And I'm probably, you know what? I got a brand new one in my garage. If the box is intact and I dust it off, I'm going to also be giving that away next week too. A Diggs irrigation system. The irrigation system, you can catch them things on sale for like $20. And it gives you a lot in there to start with. And then you go to Home Depot and you get the little fittings and what to work with it. Also a timer. You can get a timer as well. To put on your water spigot, put on it, and you can set that timer when you want it to water the garden and how long you want it to water the garden. So I'll be giving away the grow bags. I'll be giving away that Diggs irrigation system that's in my garage that I haven't used. I don't think I opened it up. I'm going to check into it and see. So next Monday, definitely be here because we're going to have a giveaway. I always come on right around 11:30, 12 o'clock. That seemed to have been a sweet spot. And we're going to get this garden season jump started for everybody. Wonderful Life, hello, how are you? Thank you so much for coming in. So I need to know, what are some of your gardening goals? Just comment in the chat one of your biggest gardening goals. If there was a problem in 2019, are you researching how to rectify it for 2020? Because you got to be ahead of it. Especially if you're already an experienced gardener. And you knew what all you went through last year. You don't want to continue to go through the same thing this year. So I would like to know some of your gardening goals and how are you going to rectify them. I'm only going to be on here, guys, 1 hour because I want to make my live short to allow other people who aren't able to be in the live to at least sit down and watch the live stream without having to go to 2 or 3 hours of it. Because I just don't see anybody doing that. Angela Garden says, hello, how are you? Thank you so much for coming in. I'm glad that you caught it, Angela. I appreciate you being here. We're talking about garden goals for 2020, strategies, how we're going to deal with some of the problems that get ahead of the problems that we dealt with in 2019 for 2020. We talked about companion planting. We talked about building our soil. Or have we talked about building our soil? Guys, check out Chop and Drop method. I'm telling you, putting that stuff back down, even if you are a raised bed gardener, the bottom of that bed is open if it's sitting on the ground. Chopping that stuff, and if you don't have comfrey, I highly recommend you to get comfrey. There's a certain Baki number that I have. I think it's 14. I'm not sure. But if you don't till your garden, you shouldn't have a problem. Because one of them, I'm not sure what Baki number it is. If you till that garden, that comfrey would take over your whole yard. But the comfrey that I have, I'm going to research it and figure it out because I can't remember. It stays contained in one place. It hasn't spread it out of the bed that I have it in. Comfrey is really, really good. It's a chop and drop. I chop it up. I drop it around my fruit trees. At the end of the year, I drop it in my garden bed. Sometimes during the year, I'll put it in my garden beds as a mulch to kind of help restore the moisture. And it breaks down really good. It's also good to put inside your compost pile. It'll help break that compost down even faster. So that's something that you want to research is comfrey. Hidden Harvest Grow Lights. Hello, how are you? Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you. Guys, we got some wonderful channels that's in here. Please check each other out. Go over there, watch their videos, see what they're talking about, see what they're growing about, see what they're growing. You will be inspired by a lot of the people in here. There's different types of yards. There are different slopes of yards where it slopes a certain way, and you can see how they rectified that, because you might have a yard that slopes and be like, oh, I can't plant a garden on this slopey land. We have gardeners in here who have land that slope, and they are planting a garden, raised beds. So check them out. Definitely check these channels out. BG organization is using space wisely. I feel harvesting okra because the beds were so close. Husband and I recharged and added to the beds a month to create a walk-through path space. I agree with you. Okra, my okra this year, well, every year my okra does really amazing. I have the crimson spineless okra. And when I had it in one spot last year, it shaded out my tomatoes. So when I put it over in the other raised bed this year, it did a lot better, and I just switched it up. And sometimes even in my garden beds, I try to switch it up from year to year on what I put in it. But I do know I made the foolish mistake one year of putting my it wasn't the okra that gave me a problem in Research Garden. It was my sugar baby watermelons. If you're thinking about growing sugar baby watermelons, remember that those vines can grow out to about 4 feet. So if you're growing them in a contained space, and they're sprouted out on the ground, it's things that you want to remember. First of all, you don't want to grow them on dirt. If you have a piece of thick cardboard that you can lay down, once they start vining out, it'll help that plant a lot, where they won't get all soggy out. I really recommend mulching up under the bed, putting some wood chips up under the bed, up under the land where they're going to vine out at. That helps out a lot, because when we go through our rainy season, that grass is so soggy, it's going to rotten out your fruit, and it's going to cause all types of pests and stuff to come in and bore the inside of your fruit out. So definitely if you're growing vining plants. Tall plants I don't really have a problem with. I know I have to put them in a certain area so they don't shade out. But the wonderful thing about being a container gardener and a raised bed gardener, you can move things around. But when you have a stationary garden, you can't. So you do have to strategize how you plant your garden. Okay, when do you plant the watermelon seeds? You have to figure out resource garden with, because from seed to harvest with sugar babies is 95 days. So your last frost date, you can start your seeds then. I don't recommend direct sowing. You do start them in little cups, then take them out, or you can start them 2 weeks before your last frost date, because they grow pretty good. So that's when I will pretty much start mine. 2 weeks before, some plants a month before. So by the time I get them out there, the tomato plants, you might want to do three weeks to a month before your last frost date. And then you also got to remember, guys, you can't take a plant from inside under these grow lights to outside under that natural light. You got to harden them off. Harden them off meaning that you got to slowly transition them into that light, because once that light hit them, it'll wilt them out and the plant will go into a shock. So what I do, I have a 3-step process. They come from under the grow lights. Then I take them to my kitchen, which is a light filtering through the window. Then by the time my last frost date, I'll take them on the front porch, which my house is overshadowing it. Then I'll take it to the backyard and put it up against the house where I have so many hours of sunlight. And then I eventually put them out into the garden where they're supposed to be. You might not have to do all of that, but you definitely want to transition them slowly into that natural light, because it can be very harsh on an indoor plant opposed to an outdoor plant, and it cause your plant to go into shock and sometimes even die. All right, Angela is asking Hidden Harvest what zone do he lives in. Right. Now, also, with transitioning your plants from inside to outside, keep in mind about the wind. When spring comes, we have a lot of wind. We have a lot. If you have a greenhouse or a hoop house, get those plants out of that wind. Now, if you're growing tomatoes indoors, starting from seedlings, what I do, I put a little small fan on them. Do you know that the wind helps strengthen the stem of your plants? That's really good, because it kind of emulates the wind outside. When your plants is blowing like that, it'll help stimulate. But when you have those big high winds that we can sometimes get, and your pots is blowing over, or you got to go across the street and collect your pots, that's not good for your plants. It's disturbing the roots way too much. Probably killing the plant because it's down the street somewhere. So keep that in mind too. All right, let's see what else we have. That was protection. We talked about the protection just now. Protecting your plants. Spring will bring about a lot of rain. April, May will bring about a lot of rain. Some of our pest issues come from the rain. Some of our other issues come from the rain as well. Powdery mildew. That, a couple of years ago, was a big problem for me. Powdery mildew. I caught powdery mildew on my watermelon leaves. And I mean, it was so out of control, because at that particular time, I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know what to do about it. It's not going to fix itself. So if you know powdery mildew was a problem for you last year, think as if it's going to be a problem for you this year and start to research how to rectify powdery mildew problems. Learn how to look out for tomato hornworms. I've never had a tomato hornworm, knock on wood, in my garden. I don't want to see a tomato hornworm because I've seen some of the tomato hornworms that you guys have had, and it will completely freak me out. So, but that's one of the things that you also have to look into is the tomato hornworms, the beetle bugs, the cucumber bugs, the little flying moth that lays eggs, aphids, ant problems. How can we rectify these problems? I had a problem with rabbits. Me and rabbits do not get along. And once I go behind this gate, because it's so untamed behind that gate, and clean all of that out, and of course I will have a couple of people with me, because if a rabbit is on the other side of that gate, now this is a throwback for all of y'all older people. You know that Hey Kool-Aid commercial where the Kool-Aid busts through the bricks? That's going to be me all day long. I'm coming through that gate because I am very, very scared of rabbits. So these are things, when I put up my other garden gate, I don't really have a problem with rabbits over in my garden eating on my leaves anymore, because I contained that area off with a little garden gate that I bought from Lowe's. But the little baby rabbits can get through those little slots in the gate, because one shot crossed me, and I knew it was a rabbit because I kept my eyes on him. He wasn't running fast like a mouse. He was running like a rabbit, and I could see his little white butt. And he hopped right behind my thing. So I might do a preventative measure and probably trying to put some type of gating down on there. But I only seen one, so not a big deal. We have so many cats now in our area. I don't think the rabbits have a chance, because the cats just chase them. And I don't even know where this overpopulation of cats thing came from. And that's a fear of mine too. I'm a little scared of cats. If the cat mind his business and gone about his business, I'm fine. But if we gotta rub up against each other, I have a problem with them. That's another thing, preventative measures that we have to start facing our fears. I know Bearfruit is scared of spiders. I'm not a friend of spiders, but I don't have a phobia of spiders the way I do rabbits and the way I do mice. I'm scared of those. Now, Bearfruit was able to look up under a piece of wood when she thought it was a mouse in her garden. I can't do that. I can get the spider for you, Bearfruit. You get my mouse, I'll get your spider, and we're good. But we got to get past some of them phobias. The more that you're in your garden and the more that you see the different things, you're not going to be as surprised in the garden. Some people deal with snakes. We don't have a snake issue here. I don't think. I haven't came across a snake, but we do have a problem with possums. We have a problem with raccoons. We have a problem with mice. We have a problem with squirrels, black and brown squirrels. The black squirrels are very, very... Stephanie, hello, how are you? Thank you for coming in. The black squirrels are more aggressive than the brown squirrels. They're more destructive than the brown squirrels as well. So we got a problem with that. And the brown squirrels like to run the phone line right over my garden. And they also like to pick my figs. That's why I lost so many figs last year. It's because of the squirrels. They would go right up, and they were digging my figs out the pot. The whole stem out the pot. So that was a problem that I had last year that I need to figure out how I'm going to prevent that. And one of the ways that I probably can prevent it for the most part is to put my plants in the greenhouse or build some type of enclosure where they can't get to them. But I definitely got to do something about the squirrels. They were a problem for me last year. P. Gardner said, I never saw them until this year. I think they come because of me single stemming the tomatoes. The hornworms, cabbage moth. Okay, I got to go back up in the chat. Mildew drops down into the soil, remember, tree growing around plants. Okay, so Hidden Harvest is giving his take on powdery mildew. See, this is what I like. We all can come in and we can learn from each other. Now, powdery mildew took out my watermelon patch. I got a few watermelons a couple of years ago, but I mean, I let it get too bad. If you don't rectify that problem quick, it'll take over and it will destroy your harvest. But those hornworms, I haven't seen them. Only on a screen. That's the way I like to keep it. But I'm sure I'm going to come across it. And this is probably, I grow 2 different types of tomatoes. 3 different types. I'm doing either the Better Boys, the beefsteak, and I always do the cherry tomatoes, which my grandson absolutely loves. So I haven't had a problem with them, but I'm thinking not this year, but in the future I'll probably do more tomatoes. I'll probably do more varieties of tomatoes. Starduster 2, hello, how are you? Thank you so much for coming in. I'm glad that you caught me live. I'm going to be on here a few more minutes. I don't want it to be too long because I want people who to be able to come back and watch the live who didn't have a chance to be here while I'm live. Still here, backyard. Okay, Sherry, thank you. I appreciate that, Angela. So single stemming might bring them on. Good to know. Better perhaps to cage them. So better pruning. Oh, on my tomato plants. I'm glad you said something about pruning, Angela. You got to stay on top of them suckers. Last year, I did not stay on top of my suckers at all. This is why I say, if you're a beginning gardener, sometimes if you're an experienced gardener, too much can be overwhelming for one person. I didn't stay on top of my suckers, which allowed me to have more foliage than I actually had tomatoes. And it also created a disease. If you don't trim those suckers up off the bottom of your plant, your tomato plant will catch different types of disease because they're wet and they're laying on that soil because they're so close to the ground. So keep that in mind too. How we can stay on top of cutting them suckers off in those tomatoes, because I surely did not. It can. Angela said those tomato plants can make your plant top heavy, and they were. It's just it was so dense in there that I really didn't even get a lot of tomatoes. But had I started trimming those suckers and kind of defoliating that plant, I think I would have got a lot. I know I would have got a lot more tomatoes. But because I was so busy trying to make sure these grapes grow this year, I neglected 2 things. Tomato was one, and my blueberries was another one. I think it is time for me to up pot my blueberries. Now, if you're a container gardener, don't think that you can keep that perennial, because the annual is just going to die, and it's just for a season. But don't think that you could keep your perennials in those containers forever. That's not going to work. What you can do is you can cut the bottom out of those plants and go on and let that plant touch down, the roots touch down in the ground. Your perennials in those containers will get root bound, and I think that's what's going on with my raspberries and my blueberry. I believe they have became root bound. I know they have became root bound, and it's time for me to either put them in a bigger container or split them up. I think I'm going, while the raspberry plant is dormant, I'm going to go right down the middle of that plant and create 2 raspberry plants to see how that works for me before they come out of dormancy. So, those are things to think about too. If you like raspberries and you've never grown raspberries before, I'm going to give you a raspberry variety that will grow 2 times a year and will grow in the first season, and they're pretty good. That's the Heritage raspberry. I just lost my computer. That's the Heritage raspberry. It grows twice a year. It gives you 2 crops for the season, and it also will bear fruit that first year. And they sell them at all the big box stores: Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart. So look for Heritage, and they're pretty good. Cambay, that's that one that grows on the old wood. You won't get none the first year, but you'll get them the second year. So definitely check out the Heritage. And a raspberry. Now, Restore Garden, is that the yellow raspberry? I'm back in the chat. My phone timeout. Is that the Anna raspberry? Is that the yellow one? Because I think I have that, or a fall gold. Because I never heard of the okay, so Starduster is talking about she learned it the hard way, but she's ready for the next go round. And that's the attitude that we have to have. Like, okay, we made some mistakes. Don't beat yourself up. It's a learning curve. If you're not learning, you don't know what you're doing. Because we're not perfect gardeners. We're not. Even the biggest perfect gardeners, master gardeners, are still learning. Trust me. Or trying to create ways to perfect what they already have. So we have to have that mindset of, I'm ready for next season. I'm about to get into it. I'm about to make sure that I'm on top of this. These little white things flying around, I know what you are. I know what you do, because I read up about you. That's the attitude that you have to have. The aphids. Okay, you're not going to freak me out, but I got something for you. Get that spray bottle, or get that, and get your supplies. Get your supplies now. Get those sprayers that they sell at Home Depot. If you don't have a real big garden, you ain't got to get a big, gigantic one. You can get the kind that you pump, and they're not that expensive. Some of them are plastic. Label it so that you know what you're putting in there, and spray your plants. Like, don't wait till you get the problem, because you already know we're going to have some aphid problems. That's just going to happen. So let's research on natural remedies or organic remedies for aphids. And let's get those sprayers. Got a couple extra dollars, you're at Home Depot buying you some towel for the bathroom. Got a couple extra bucks, you get a gift card in the mail. Boom. Go out there and get your supplies for your garden. Somebody asks you what you want for Christmas, you can't go wrong with a gift card. Glencoe raspberry. I never heard of that one. Does that harvest, do you harvest in the first season? And how many crops do you get? How many harvests? How many times do it bud out? Is it twice a year? I read about cans. Cut top and bottom off. Put at base of ceilings to try bugs from crawling up them. Now, Starduster, I read about for as far as my fruit trees, to how to deal with the aphids and the ants from crawling up there infesting the fruit. They said to get some type of foil, wrap it around the base of the trunk of the plant, and put Vaseline on there. Now, the problem I have with that is Vaseline, it melts, with the heat. And then you got it on some foil. I don't know how that's gonna work. But Ivory Organics have some stuff that they're having a 50% off sale too. I'm not promoting them, but I'm just putting you up on tip. Ivory Organics is having a 50% off sale on a lot of their products, and they also have stuff that's good for aphids and good for your tree getting sunburned, to stop your tree from getting sunburned, because your tree can get sunburned and it will cause damages to your tree. That's why a lot of people paint their tree white to reflect the sun. Now, there's a certain type of paint that you need to use on your trunk, because some of these paint has lead in it and different types of oil base. So you want to make sure you get the right kind. But Ivy Organics is having that big major sale over there. He got the right stuff for you. I also use DE on my strawberries. Well, first then dust with the powder. Diatomaceous Earth. I haven't used that yet. I heard a lot of good things about it, but I haven't used it yet. And I think because I haven't really had to. But I see it in the stores, and there's a certain grade that you want to get. I do know that. So Starduster, I'm going to research it a little bit more, the diatomaceous earth. I heard a lot about it, and I know a lot of people use that, and they say it's pretty good to keep the different pests and stuff off your garden. But I also heard that sometimes it doesn't discriminate. It can also kill the good pests that's in your garden as well. But I'm going to read up on that diatomaceous earth, because that might be something that I need to purchase, especially around my peach trees, because they were loaded this year as far as with ants and aphids. My cherry tree on the other side of the gate, it was loaded down, and it freaked my son out so bad. He was like, I just got the willies. I was like, okay, if he got the willies, I'll probably get them too. So yeah, we gotta. That's another thing. That diatomaceous earth. That's another thing. The Ivy Organics is another thing that we can use. There's different things, and there's also home remedies that we can use to strategize and try to get ready for the growing season. Because pests is going to be a problem. Every time. Weed control. That's the last one I had on my list. Weed control. That's something else. A lot of us struggle with weed control, because it was like, how do I stay on top of these weeds? Oh, it's getting overwhelming. I don't know, my phone just did something weird. It just brought up a whole ad. I had to say no thank you. That was weird. Okay, how do I stay on top of weed control? You had a problem with weed control. And me had a problem with weed control. Especially when you, the biggest thing I had a problem with weed control was over in my asparagus bed. I didn't heavily mulch that area, and I should have. And the weeds was growing. It was outgrowing the asparagus. I couldn't even find the asparagus. Then my crazy self put my watermelon bed right there in front of the asparagus bed. So when it vined out, I couldn't even get over into that area to even pull that up. So once I harvested all my watermelons, I was so happy to finally get over to that asparagus bed and pull all the weeds out. What are some of the ways that we can kind of control weeds in our garden that will make it easier for me? One way, if you notice, if you got a lot of wood chips on your ground and you go to pull them weeds up, it's like you could almost pull them up like this. They just pull right up out the ground. It's not a tug or anything. So wood chips to me definitely help. For sure. Definitely helps in the garden. I agree. Starduster second that wood chips does help in the garden. It makes it so much easier to pull those weeds out. Bearfruit said DT can kill the beneficial insects as well. Exactly. So you gotta kind of be careful with it. Because I heard they could kill the worms. We don't want to kill no worms. We need the worms because we need their castings because our fruits thrive off of it. But if you use it in a moderation or in a certain, if it's a container, you don't have worms in there anyway. So I think with DE, I'm sorry, diatomaceous earth in the containers is great, in my opinion. Maybe in your raised beds, maybe not so much, but in containers, it's definitely great. But you do have to be careful, and then with everything, you have to be careful. It's a certain type of day that you have to do this as well. When you spraying your plant for powdery mildew, when you spraying your plants for aphids, you don't want to do that when that sun is out and beaming, because you could cook your plant as well, and you could cause your plant to stress out. Guys, we got 17 thumbs up. If you have not done so, please smash the like for the host. I push my likes. I'm sorry, 19 thumbs up on my end. I push my likes because they allow the algorithm to put the video out to other people. So if you are running a live stream, or if you have your content creator, don't feel bad for saying, if you like this video, press a thumbs up, because this is what's going to make your channel grow, and this is going to help your content get out there in YouTube land. Okay? So that the algorithm can pick it up. The thumbs up help. The thumbs down don't do nothing for you. It's not gonna be against you. I don't even know why they still got it, but the thumbs up does help. All right. So I'm listening and cleaning. Thank you, TK Tanae, for listening and cleaning. I appreciate you. All right, and I think Miss Linda, New Orleans Gardener, did something on diatomaceous earth as well last year in one of her videos. I think that's who did a video on it. So it's some good channels, guys, that we could check out. Weed barrier is another thing. When I do my okra bed, because I know it's just like a 3x4 bed, I'll take that weed barrier and I'll wrap it. I'll spread it over the bed, staple it down, cut holes, put my okra plants in there, and let them grow up, because you can water the plant. I've already amended my soil now. I put my blood meal, my bone meal before I even started my plants. You can water that plant right through that weed fabric. And also fourth going and fertilizing. If you're not using a granular feed, which is a dry feed, and you're using a liquid feed like 511, mix it up in that bucket and pour it in there. Also, you want to know what fertilizers you get, what fertilizers you need. Someone had left a message on one of my videos about 10-10-10 in the garden. I really didn't know how to answer it using it in the garden. He said he had a limited supply of it, so he wanted to know if it would be good in his vegetable garden. I don't I don't use 10-10-10 because I just think those numbers are too high for the vegetable plants. It might be pretty good for your trees and definitely good for your grapevine, but I think those numbers are a little bit too high for vegetable plants. So you have to do your research. You got to figure out what's a good fertilizer. Don't get caught up in this marketing. Everybody was going out buying Mr. Earth, Dr. Earth. Remember that? I mean, they were pushing it. The commercials was coming on, and I found out that that's it. I used it. It really wasn't all of that. I mean, tell you the truth, that 511 fish emulsion and seaweed work a lot better than the Dr. Earth. So don't get caught up so much on the commercial, the branding of things, because the more money that person has to push their product, the more that it's gonna be right there in your face, and the more actors gonna tell you, oh, it made my garden go from this to that. I'm telling you, the seaweed fish emulsions, that's a nice nitrogen fertilizer to keep your plants healthy and green. Blood meal, Job's blood meal and bone meal. It does a really good job in the garden. I've also bought from Tractor Supply some chicken manure fertilizer. That worked pretty good too. It was a chicken manure fertilizer. I just picked it up. It was by Job's, I believe, too. And I was like, you know what? Let me try this out. That worked really well this year in the garden too. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. And if it is broke, then research it and try to figure out a better way. So thank everyone for coming in. I appreciate you. I'm going to end this live because I want people to be able to watch it afterwards in its entirety, and that's at work or at school or out shopping. Guys, remember, I made an announcement before we came in, and the announcement was it was like a public service announcement. Here in Michigan, we have a human trafficking problem, and it's starting to spread throughout state to state to state. They're driving around in these little white utility vehicles, vans, and they're snatching people up, and they're trafficking them for body parts or for whatever. You want to really kind of be careful. You want to be vigilant. It's the holiday season. You know, we running in these stores, and we coming out, and we're not paying attention to our surroundings. Please be careful. Please watch your surroundings. If you got teenage kids and you're at work, make that kid check in. If you got to get off the bus or walk home, talk to them on the phone, and talk to your children about it as well. They're not just taking children. They're taking healthy adults too. So please be careful out here in these streets. The enemy is busy. He's busy. He's out here to kill and destroy. And we have to be more vigilant more and more every day. Four Horns Farm, hello. How are you? Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you. That human trafficking, I thought it was, I just thought it was a hoax. But our city council kept talking about it. And they kept saying it's real in Michigan. It's real. We're one of the biggest states who have the problem. And now I'm seeing all on social media that it's starting to spread to other states. I have family in Birmingham, Alabama. And I talked to my cousin down there. And he says they're having a problem down there too. So it's not a northern thing. It's becoming around the globe. Young lady was on one of the social media sites, and she said that her Her and her sister were driving down the street. A young girl ran out in front of the car, crying, saying, help me, please. He's chasing me, he chased me. So they rolled the window down a little bit, and they was like, well, what's going on? What's wrong? She said, it's a man, he's chasing me, he tried to snatch me, The girl grabbed the handle and jumped in the back of the car. So it's two of them. The two sisters is driving. So they took off with the girl in the car. They said, well, who's chasing you? She said it was a white man that tried to grab her up. And then they said, well, okay, where is he at? You know, how far is he behind you? A lot of the story that she was saying wasn't adding up about what was chasing her. They was like, well, you want us to call somebody? She gave them a place to take her, Pembroke. She said, go to Pembroke. She said, okay, lead us there. She said, make a left. These two young ladies knew Pembroke was to the right. It was a setup. So you have to be careful with that. I know that this is the season and everybody is feeling love and everybody want to give and everybody want to help and everybody want to share. But in my opinion, if you loving and you giving, it shouldn't take Christmas to bring that out of you. And you got to find a different way to help and to reach out. We have a lot of homeless people here as well, and people who are panhandling, and you all have them in your states too. You have to be careful helping sometimes and find a different way to help people, because it's sometimes it's a setup, and it's bad when you don't know good from bad. It's bad when we don't know who needs help and who's scamming people. And unfortunately, that's the light that we came in. So we have to please be careful out there. If you want to help and you see the little man ringing the little bell and you want to put a couple of dollars in there, put a couple of dollars in there. If you see somebody standing on the street that's homeless, I'm going to tell you how prayer changes things. If you could get a prayer across, you pray for that person, because that dollar that you give them is not going to save them. You pray for that person, and you have to keep moving. I'm not saying don't help people that's in need of help. I'm saying be careful and be wise in the way that you do it, because if you don't want to compromise your life, your safety, your family. Coming in and out your house, just be vigilant. Let me read the chat and then we're going to close it out. Stardust said, I finally got comfrey to make the tea. Yes, comfrey is very, very good for the garden. And it's got some health benefits to it too, Stardust. So I know you'll do some research and the comfrey sap and whatever else. So comfrey is very good. I'm glad you got that comfrey. Bearfruit says she needs to get some comfrey ASAP. Definitely do, because it's good for your fruit trees, it's good for your garden, and it also has health benefits. Bearfruit for sure. If it wasn't so cold here, Bearfruit, I would dig you up a piece. But it's so cold out there, I don't even waste time in the garden. I want to take y'all out there to show y'all what I'm trying to do. I was like, it's too cold. I was freezing. Thanks for, I'm grateful I caught you live trying to play catch up on videos. Yes, Starduster, I appreciate you coming in. Before I came live, I went to a few channels to catch up on videos, because if you want people to support you, hey, we got to support them. We got to support each other. That's what we do. So I'm glad that you got a chance to catch up. Bearfruit, I tried from seeds, and I got the cuttings off eBay. That's where I got mine from. I got my comfrey cuttings off of eBay, but it's a certain bocking number that you get. But I definitely got my cuttings off eBay. Comfrey is really good. So Starduster says, so true, backyard is bad down here too. It's bad everywhere. And people have this misconception of, oh, not my neighborhood. Listen, a lot of the snatching is going on in the more prominent neighborhoods. They're not just happening in the city, they're happening in the suburbs, and we gotta wake up. We gotta get out of that. Oh, that don't happen here. Oh, I don't have here. I've heard people say, I don't have mice. Mice is, if you live on Earth, you got mice. Everybody has mice. There's mice everywhere. You might not have them. You might not see them like some people see them, but they're in the garden. For my raccoons and my squirrels and my possums, you might have foxes and beavers in your yard that might become a problem, but we all have pests in our garden. So, you can act like you don't, but we do. Well, it might not be what I have. It might not be the raccoons. It might not be the possum. It might be a fox. It might be a beaver. It might be whatever those a lot of those animals have. Like some people have deer problems. I don't have deer problems, at least not yet. They're starting to migrate out a little closer toward me. I done seen them about a mile away, but a lot of people have deer problems. And a deer could be just as bad as a rat, because they will eat up your fruit tree. They love it too, just like the mice love it. So we just got to protect our trees and protect our crops, and go forth with that. So thank you guys so much for coming in. I appreciate you. I hope you guys got a chance to network, and I hope that you all are linked up with each other so that we can watch each other's video and see what you all are growing. I will see you next Monday. Don't forget, next Monday, I'm giving a giveaway. Giving away some grow bags. I'm giving away a big potato bag. And I'm going to go out my garage and see if I can find that new Diggs irrigation system. Miss Forola, hello, how are you? Running errands and listening in while standing in line at the moment. If that ain't loyalty, I tell you. Thank you, Miss Forola. I appreciate you for coming in. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. Angela, thank you, and happy gardening, everybody. Don't forget, next Monday we're going to play some games and have a giveaway so I can get this stuff mailed out to you guys. Barefruit, I'm going to pull names, and we're going to get that together, because I know it's 2 people. I definitely got to get those cuttings out too. Happy gardening, and be safe.